Two of the most well-known of the ancient mythological gods are the characters Thor and Loki, thanks to Marvel Universe and Disney. When we orient these two characters as the forces of current and charge, it opens up an entire marvelous universe of information about our solar system before the collapse of Utgarda. We're going to root the story of Thor by the Wyrm Jormungandr, a character which is cognate with the staff of Aaron and the Snake-hair of Medusa. We know that these are describing a current and a positive charge as it connected and flowed to the Earth at the near impact site of the Tarim Basin. In this epic, we will see mighty Thor wrestle a grandmother and lose.
I kicked Thor's ass!
I buy it.
Our story today really begins on a long enough timeline. The survival rate for everyone drops to 0. That's true even for Thor, and certainly for Utgarda. Hang tight, grab something refreshing and a friend, and if you haven't subscribed yet, get on that thing because you're not going to hear this analysis anywhere else. Welcome to Mythology 108, Thor and the End of the Giants.
Sometimes I wonder what it would be like to be free.
Thor and Loki once visited a giant called Utgarda. Utgarda and his giant companions mocked them both. Thor was furious and wanted to prove himself. Utgarda mockingly challenged Thor to lift his cat above his head. Thor struggled a lot with lifting the cat, but just as he was about to raise it above his head, Utgarda intervened and told him he had been too slow. Thor wanted a second chance, and this time he was challenged to wrestle with Utgarda's grandmother. She was a formidable opponent, and the two wrestled for hours. But eventually she managed to subdue the god Thor. All the giants laughed at Thor, but the perceptive Loki noticed that they all looked very afraid. When Thor left the next day, Utgarda revealed that the cat had actually been the great Wyrm Jormungandr in disguise, and that his grandmother were none other than old age itself. The fact that Thor had actually managed to lift Jormungandr and resisted old age for so long was certainly impressive, and is but one of the many reasons why the giants fear him so much.
Resist is a word most don't know in its electrical term, but like you resisting a Klondike bar, a resistor in a circuit is an electrical component that limits or regulates the flow of electrical current in an electrical circuit. In the case of plasma and a Birkeland current, the current and voltage get compressed down to a single point and a Z-pinch occurs. Resistance creates the force of memristance, which, like the ringing of a bell going back and forth, it creates an alternating current and a three-phase circuit, allowing the excess load to be stored in a capacitor on one side, which is electric, and an inductance on the other side, which is magnetic. This four-part circuit is called a chaos circuit, and it is used in large and chaotic electrical systems to help store excess electrical charge.
The discovery of the circuit by electrical engineer Leon Chua occurred because Chua simply lined up the four principal forces of electricity and magnetism in their natural relation to each other, and then assigned the functions they produce. At the time, science only knew about resistance, inductance, and capacitance. Chua said there must be a fourth force that creates an oscillation, and named it memristance. This was in 1972, so this is an extremely new discovery, and memristance was not actually replicated in a lab until 2008. Memristance is the key to unlocking our solar system.
And to do so, we need to ask a question. And the question we need to ask is, how close is this model to the real-life circuit itself? The answer is pretty darn exactly. This is a very recent picture of the poles of Jupiter, and what you see here are the four nodes of the electric force and the corresponding circuit functions creating their own vortexes. The alignment of the circuit is possible because memristance will always create an oscillation, and in the case of Jupiter, it created a tower that allowed me to line up the circuit to the nodes. The models in an electric universe are fundamentally scalable, and so Utgarda is the pre-collapse solar system circuit with these four corners acting very much like guard towers, or Utgarda. There was a current and a charge along a Birken current. Thor and Loki visited Utgarda when a resistance occurred, creating a memristance, allowing inductance and capacitance to occur. The guard towers of Utgarda, the giant of Utgarda himself. Hans Alfvén's galactic circuit model is illustrated here by Garrett Samuels of See the Pattern YouTube channel. Samuels' illustration suggests that a pinch produces ultimately 4 double layers around Alfvén's circuit, all of which he said could be in a glow mode. 4 gas giant planets, 4 giants of Utgarda. Thor wants to prove himself, and so he is in the middle and is challenged with lifting a cat, which is the circuit itself, a task he fails, meaning that the circuit was going to fail and collapse. When Mighty Thor wanted another chance, he had to wrestle Utgarda's grandmother, who is the personification of time. Like a car fully rusted beyond repair, the myth is saying that the circuit was old, and no matter what happened or how hard Thor tried, this circuit, like any other, was going to fail from old age, and nothing was going to stop its final denigration. Thor wrestled Utgarda's grandmother and lost. The giants laughed at Thor, but Loki noticed that they all looked very afraid. They should be very afraid, because the cat was really the Wyrm Jormungandr, the incoming Birken current, which by causing positive pressure had finally defeated Thor from lifting the cat above his head. The giant Utgarda and his giant companions should be afraid, very afraid, because this model will collapse into the helical solar system we see today. Thor has taken us down a very important rabbit hole.
More power, rabbit!
And Loki will always charge with him.
Kneel before me!
Leave me a comment down below, and peace out.
Is this not simpler?